Welcome back to One Comic Book a Day, where we're covering the final story in Superman 77, Superman Meets Pocahontas, which is a story I'm not going to really want to talk about all that much because, as you can probably tell by the title, this is not going to be a very good story in the sense that it's racist and full of red face. Like, legitimately full of red face. Not just depicting the indigenous characters in ridiculously cartoony red, like really bright red at times, but also having Lois Lane in red face. This is a story that postulates what if Superman was John Smith and what if Lois Lane was Pocahontas for some reason. I don't know why you would really want that, but it's the story they go with, and then they don't really do much with it. It's not exactly the story they're interested in. Essentially, the story is all focused on a indigenous belt that depicts Superman being hit by an arrow, which is strange because arrows should not be able to pierce him. Luckily, the professor who happens to have this belt also has a time machine, and Lois goes back in time to find out why this is. But first, she's going to disguise herself by covering her skin in berries to explain why she's red. Not only is that flesh color tone really just upsetting in how they decide to, with the shade they decide to go with, it's not very consistent, and this is more of a comics problem with the coloring, and especially like whatever issue you're reading from. The issue I'm reading from more or less didn't depict the indigenous as red face most of the time. Their skin color might be slightly darker, but it's mostly pale, and then every so often there's a page that was really thick with color, and then they're like ridiculously red to the point it's almost like a square over them at times because the ink was so thick with the red at that point. The actual Pocahontas switches places with her. Why did she have to disguise herself? In fact, Clark goes back in time to follow her. They just send Clark, by the way, to protect her. It's not like they go after Superman. And at no point does Lois think that maybe her traveling back in time is going to lead to Superman getting hit by this arrow, because this is all just very easy to avoid. Once there, we don't really even deal with that. So what the story is going for is the usual sort of story, like the Disney version of this story, almost 60 years later, of this idea that there was like a few bad apples that were forcing war, so the settlers would attack the indigenous and take the land. But no, Superman's going to stop all that, and everything will be fine, except we just kind of end the story with Superman stopping things and everything seeming fine, just not dealing with what was going to happen anyways, which is horrific to history. And one of those things is just, I don't want Superman dealing with this because I refuse to believe, even if Superman wants time to happen exactly the way it was, he's going just to stop and let things continue this way. He's freaking Superman. He saves people. You don't put him in these situations. It's letting him do evil by omission, by letting everything happen the usual way. By the way, it's not actually Superman who gets hit by the arrow. It's a guy pretending to be Superman, though this changes time anyway, and we see the belt has changed to show that Lois, or Pocahontas as she supposedly is, the one who shot the arrow. Though this now adds the question, why did Superman originally go back in time? Because it was depicted before, but her going back in time in the first place wasn't what led to this. It actually changed time. And I still feel like we're not really playing with the premise all that much. The story just kind of wants Superman to do what he usually does without dealing with the setting or the plot. Superman just kind of exists there, and we just find normal reasons for him to keep doing what he usually does in the Superman story. Okay, that is it from Superman 77, Superman Meets Pocahontas, which is sort of true because he sees her for like 1 second when she has switched places with Lois. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to get notifications when a new video goes up. I do this Monday through Friday, but Fridays is Bat Friday, where I cover a Batman story and how they detect comics or Batman. And until next time, let us ponder the question, whatever did happen to the Man of Tomorrow? And seriously, why did we need this story? And if you're going to do this story, why not actually deal with Superman with indigenous and natives instead of just, well, he comes back here and there's some problems, but he'll solve those problems that have nothing to do with the situation. Okay, have a great day.